So, it's been a while since I made an episode of Flag-Phile, and I thought a 4th episode was long overdue. So, without further ado, hey, wake up! Jeez. What time is it? How long have you been out? It's the future now. We have another episode of Flag-Phile for you to do. Wait, the future? Do we have— No, we don't have flying cars yet. It's only 2019. Wait, 2019? Who's president? The president? I don't think you really want to know. No, of Indonesia. Joko Widodo. Why do you care so much about Indonesia all of a sudden? Well, I mean, the second episode of Flag-Phile really took off, and I talked about Indonesia in that one. Surely pandering to Indonesia will be the way this channel will take off. Right? No, actually, it really turned out that the real answer was talking about the anthem of the Soviet Union. Still love you, Indonesia. Anyway, I got another episode of Flag-Phile for you. Here's the script. Why flags are like YouTube thumbnails. Yeah, I suppose it's a bit of a funny concept, but it's about time I made this finally! Ah, nice. I feel like KhAnubis Productions could use a new intro. Oh, it's just KhAnubis now. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, flag design is something that should ultimately be taken seriously. Liberia. Actually, don't forget the vexillographer thing. Right, yeah. Anyway, if you ask me, and probably most other vexillography nerds, one of the key things that will define a group's passion towards a common goal or interest is actually a good flag design. I mean, it's why I'm wearing a shirt stylized after the flag of Colorado, and why I also don't own anything after the flag of Oregon, the state I live in. In a similar manner, however, YouTube thumbnails can also fall into this camp. What exactly do I mean by this? Well, while comparing the flag of Moldova to the thumbnail of this video, for example, may seem like comparing, say, apples and bananas, they both fall into the same area of general usage. Like, while apples and bananas may be vastly different fruits that you eat in vastly different ways, they are still fruits that you eat, and need to eat in order to survive. Because they'll kill you if you don't. In a similar manner, flags and YouTube thumbnails are both rectangular objects graphically designed to catch your attention and please the eye. Plus, flags are meant to be observed from afar, which makes them really small, and thumbnails are meant to be observed up close, but really small. So if you're going for a bunch of small little details crammed into that little space, it's not exactly going to work all that well. It is pretty interesting where the two differ, however. I mean, a good YouTube thumbnail is one that draws in the viewer's attention, while also making itself unique and remarkable, if not a tiny little bit controversial. Conversely, while flags also have to do this, they don't do this in necessarily the same way as a YouTube thumbnail. Think of the flag of Pocatello, Idaho, for example. Hey, did they still fight it, a hunk of crap? No, actually they changed it not too long ago. It looks way better now. Oh, nice. I remember I said the old design looked like the design to a cigarette box or something like that. Of course, the main rules for designing a flag differ significantly from what you might want to follow for a video thumbnail. In short, flags symbolize things you generally know about, whereas thumbnails generally symbolize things you don't already know about. I mean, you probably know what Germany is, but you might not know what this video is. And that's why, and this is crucial, the thumbnail has text displaying the general gist of the video, and the flag has no text whatsoever. The German flag doesn't have Bundesrepublik Deutschland splattered all over it, because the colors are meant to say it all. This is Germany. To quote Ted K, if you need to write the name of what you're representing on your flag, your symbolism has failed. Now, designing a flag or a YouTube thumbnail, while they both can be very fun, should ultimately be taken at least a little bit seriously. For flags, the North American Vexillological Association has listed 5 general requirements for a good flag. First, keep it simple, ideally so that a child could draw it from memory. Second, use meaningful symbolism, as in keep it relevant to what you're representing. For example, the Union Jack was an amalgamation of the flags of England, Scotland, and Ireland, all coming together in a sign of unity to say, "Screw you, Wales!" Third, use 2 or 3 basic colors. This rule is frequently broken, but only do so if you still have a valid excuse, like the Seychelles or Comoros. Also, only use basic colors, and colors that contrast with each other. Fourth, no lettering or seals. Text has always been a major source of controversy in the vexillological community, but I will argue that sometimes it can be pulled off, like with Rhode Island's Hope, or maybe with California's California Republic. Those could work, but for God's sake don't be like Montana. And number 5, keep it distinctive but related. What do they mean by this? Well, one good example is the flag of Texas, which, while you may have confused it for the flag of Chile, you would never confuse it with the flag of the United States. With this in mind, it does still have the same color palette and basic design template as the US, all the while being quite distinguishably Texan. Basically, it acknowledges Texas, while also acknowledging that, probably to the dismay of some within the state, Texas does not exist within a void.
Okay, that's all well and good, but where do YouTube thumbnails come in with this? Well, there may not be any formal rules set up by anyone. There are still a lot of good general design requirements for YouTube thumbnails that might not be applicable to flags. First off, if you're uploading on YouTube, make sure to always follow the 16:9 aspect ratio that YouTube uses, or else your thumbnail will get cut off in weird places, as has happened to me way too often. Of course, flags can go by whatever aspect ratio they want. All you really end up with by not following this rule is a flag that follows a different shape. And obviously, use attention-grabbing pictures, make sure your text is visible, and make sure to eliminate negative space. Obviously, these are good general design rules, but they don't apply to flags in the same way, for obvious reasons. I'll admit, I'm not exactly going to be writing any theses on the subject anytime soon, because it kind of breaks down pretty easily. However, a good or a bad flag can make or break your community. Rarely will people hesitate around a common cause if it has an awesome flag. I mean, who wouldn't want to come to the aid of Bhutan? Their flag has a freaking dragon on it! And in a similar way, having a good or bad thumbnail can make or break a video's performance. This may seem somewhat arbitrary, but it's pretty easy to see what blessings a good flag or thumbnail can bring versus the damage a bad flag or thumbnail can bring. However, while bad flags have too many colors, too many intricate designs, or will just say the name of the territory they're representing as if to clarify who they're talking about, a bad thumbnail will have text you can't really see, a bad color palette, or will be cut off because you used the wrong damn aspect ratio. Of course, once again, if you use the wrong aspect ratio on a flag, the worst you end up with is Switzerland. Of course, to back it all up, a bad flag and a bad thumbnail will of course have similar results. A bad thumbnail will result in, wow, that video looks so boring, they couldn't even represent it with a good thumbnail? Whereas a bad flag may result in, wow, this state is so boring, they couldn't even come up with a good flag to represent us? I mean, I guess this would mean that the main common factor between designing flags and designing thumbnails is that you should put at least a little bit of work into them for people to like them. Oh my god, that sounds like life!
As always, thanks for watching, and be sure to like, share, and all that other stuff. Also, since I'll be going to VidCon London next month, I will be missing the 17th of February, so I decided to open my channel up to a guest video on that week. If you have an idea for a video you want to make for this channel, there's a link to a form in the description and the pinned comment. And as always, I will see you on this coming Sunday.